everyone. Louise Gittleman here for another wonderful Wellness Wednesday. How are you and where are you? Let me know with a little thumbs up, a heart, flowers, any kind of emoji that you want. It's really good to be with you today. What I want to talk about a little bit before I begin with my questions and answers is radical longevity. I've been working very hard in trying to get this little book out in pre-sales. This is my newest book, number 37. Radical Longevity, the powerful plan to sharpen the brain, strengthen the body, and reverse the symptoms of aging. And when you pre-order at radicallongevitybook.com, that's radicallongevitybook.com, go there right now. You'll be able to download the biological versus chronological test. That's probably backwards. Hidden dental infections that trigger premature aging, and all of these have products associated with them, and the life-saving at-home assessments to turn back the clock. All of these, if you pre-order the book today, so I'd like you to go to radicallongevitybook.com and save your receipt number. Save that receipt number because we're going to be giving away other little gifts right before the sale of the book, which goes on sale and is going to be published and sent to you by May 11th. So make sure that you keep that receipt number because we're going to have a special cleansing cloth, a silver cleansing cloth that's going to be available to you with that particular receipt number at the right time, as well as a special beautification oil called broccoli seed oil, something you've never heard of, but it's the hottest thing in cosmetics these days. The broccoli seed oil is very high in antioxidants, very high in hyaluronic acid, which is what I use on my skin every single night. And it's very good as an internal and external sunscreen because you can actually take a supplement that contains the broccoli seed extract. So that's going to be made possible to you as the month goes on. So save the receipt when you pre-order the book and do that today. Now then, for Wellness Wednesday, I have a few questions. So if you'll allow me, let me answer these questions that I think all of you will find very interesting. Is there any truth to taking baking soda at night to lose weight? What a good question. Is there any truth to taking baking soda at night to lose weight? You won't lose weight, but you won't lose sleep because baking soda neutralizes heavy acidity. So it's one of the top secrets that I pass along to my people for ages. If you wake up at 2 o'clock, how many of you wake up at 2? I woke up, see, everybody's raising their hand. I wake up at 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 4, can't get back to sleep. Keep a little baking soda near the bed, a quarter teaspoon of baking soda and about 4 ounces of water, and that'll get you back to sleep because sometimes you're just too overly acidic. We become too overly acidic when we're eating incorrectly, and you know how to eat correctly because of my diet plans. But if you're cheating a little bit, if you're having too many sweets, too much soda, too much protein at night, you can become overly acidic. So you want to reduce the acidity, and the best way to do that is a quarter teaspoon of the baking soda in water, and you can do that before you go to bed so you don't wake up. Try it, you'll like it, you'll be very thankful. So again, will it make you lose weight? It won't make you lose weight, but you will sleep, and that in essence will make you lose weight. So indirectly, it really can do that. It reduces acidity. Great question. Number 2. Should I drink a smoothie before bed to increase weight loss? Should I drink a smoothie before bed to increase weight loss? Well, you definitely can because of the high amino acids, particularly isoleucine. If you're going to do a smoothie before bed, make sure it is whey protein, which is highest in isoleucine. That's what all the weightlifters do. Isoleucine, very important to maintain lean muscle mass. So yay, a little smoothie. Maybe you don't put fruit in it. Maybe you just do a scoop of the protein powder and a little water like the Fat Flush Whey, made from A2 milk. Question number 3, which you all want to know. What's a good alternative to ibuprofen for inflammation? What is a good alternative to ibuprofen for inflammation? Any natural anti-inflammatory. I love turmeric. It works the best for people. Boswellia is another one. And then last but not least, I use a little bit of GLA. I think it's a terrific anti-inflammatory, very good for the skin. If you've got a lot of eczema or cradle cap or psoriasis, use the good omega-6s. Omega-3 sometimes doesn't touch it, but the good omega-6s does. So that's an anti-inflammatory as well. So to review, it's either turmeric, Boswellia, or GLA 90s, black currant seed oil, to use instead of ibuprofen for inflammation. Is iodine the miracle mineral we need for great thyroid health? Is one of the last questions here. I have actually 4 more after that. Is iodine the miracle mineral we all need for great thyroid health? Iodine is important for everybody, even those that may have a little bit of Hashimoto's thyroidiasis, because the thyroid needs iodine, and it can be displaced by too much fluoride, too much chloride, too much bromide in the environment. So I'm a big believer in iodine. The question is how much. Some people need a little, some people need more. You need to be monitored. The other mineral that is really good for the thyroid is potassium. If you have a slow thyroid, get thee some potassium. My favorite source is a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, a natural source of potassium from grapes. It also is a great blood cleanser. So look for potassium, look for iodine, look for selenium that helps convert T4 to the more active T3. I love 200 to 400 mcgs a day of selenium. The miracle that slows the thyroid, that slows it down to a screeching halt and tamps down your metabolism, is none other than calcium. So if you have a slow thyroid, the mineral you do not want to increase is calcium. Reduce it to at least 500 milligrams and make sure that you take it as a food substance. Now, Jan asked a good question, and this is what she asked. She says, does the Fat Flush Plan help with thyroid issues? Yes, Jan, the Fat Flush Plan helps with thyroid issues. Are there any supplements in addition to what's on the plan that are helpful for thyroid? Best supplement for the thyroid is the bile builder that is very important for the gallbladder that impacts the thyroid and T4 and T3, and Thyro-Key with all the tissue glandulars. I'm not on medication as yet, and I'm looking for natural help rather than going the traditional medical route. I don't blame you. So you need a little bit of Thyro-Key, you need a little bit of bile builder, and maybe a drop or 2 of iodine or the form of iodine in the iodoral that UniKeyHealth.com sells. What do you all think? I think that the thyroid issues are absolutely epidemic. I think that everybody has either a slow thyroid, an overactive thyroid, or a thyroid that isn't doing what it needs to do. I myself take a thyroid hormone, and I'm fairly thin. I mean, I'm the same weight as I was when I was 29 years of age. I'm about 130, give or take a pound or 2. And I take thyroid, and I've done it for about 20 years. I take just 1 grain of Armour thyroid. So we all need to protect our thyroids against environmental assault and against all the EMFs that are surrounding us day in and day out. TC, hi TC Kern, she's one of my favorite fans. Any tricks to keeping on the Fat Flush program if you're heading out of town for your birthday? So this is a good question. What do you do when it's a celebration? You want to stay on plan. You get some cranberry juice. Cranberry is going to cut the cravings, number 1. Number 2, it's going to help you reduce cellulite. It's going to make you release fluid as best you can because it acts as a natural diuretic, and it's also important because it opens up the liver's 2 detox pathways. You know, enjoy yourself. I don't believe in deprivation. It's your birthday. Enjoy yourself. Get some YC Cleanse so you don't overeat sugar, and you're really going to do the right thing. Happy birthday. I don't know how old you're going to be, but happy birthday. Any way to protect the gut. YC Cleanse protects against food cravings, protects the gut because it's also anti-yeast, anti-candida albicans, which is so prevalent in today's day and time. So I take that every day. You know, there's certain things I take every day. I mean, I'm like you. I'm tempted by certain foods, certain sweets, a little bit of chocolate here and there. Milk chocolate I've recently discovered, which is not my friend, but I do enjoy it. And I take YC Cleanse in the morning, and I take YC Cleanse at night. It helps with yeast, and if my skin gets a little red and gets a little blotchy, I'm always taking YC Cleanse because it shows a sugar metabolism problem. So if you've got red, itchy skin, get the sugar out, cut the sugar out, and get some YC Cleanse. You'll be so happy that I told you about that. It's my secret sauce. Sherry asks, any recommendations for chronic irritated dry scalp? YC cleanse to get rid of the yeast, number one, because the yeast can be creating all kinds of skin conditions and scalp conditions, and more of the GLA 90s. The research that has been done with black currant seed oil is just stellar and phenomenal. It's anti-inflammatory, very helpful for the mucous membranes. You need 2 to 4 per day to keep scalp itching away. So GLA 90, another anti-inflammatory, good for scalp problems, good for skin problems, good for itchy skin, psoriasis, and eczema. So you'll see that there's a theme to everything I'm talking about. There's certain things that I keep repeating because they work. I've been in the business 40 years. If anybody should know, I should know because I work with people day in and day out. And I've had many of these conditions myself. So because of enlightened self-interest, I do my research, write the books, and share it all with you, as I do, of course, in Radical Longevity, which you all need to get today at the radicallongevitybook.com and save your receipt. Okay, Jody, this is a terrific question. I use our infrared sauna about 5 times out of 7 days for 40 minutes. She uses an infrared sauna 5 times out of 7 days for 40 minutes. I take my hat off to you. She dry brushes before going in. Question, she sweats a lot, but the cloth smells like ammonia. So what is that saying about her detox situation? Well, normally when there's an ammonia smell that's coming out, there's a detox pathway that's blocked, and you need something called citrulline. It's an amino acid called citrulline. 2 grams a day will keep the ammonia at bay. So that's a sign of insufficient detoxification. Thank you very much. So those are the ends of my questions. If there are any other questions, keep asking your questions on this thread, and I'll have my team and I will answer them. Now, my little focus for today, besides answering your questions and telling you about radical longevity one more time, is to talk about the time of the year, which is spring, which is liver time, and how to detoxify the liver. The most important thing you can do to detoxify the liver is to get worms out of your system. So I'm going to open up a can of worms. Worms are definitely my favorite subject, being the very squeamish person that I am. Before I became known as the Fat Flush Lady and the Radical Longevity author of my 37th book, I used to detoxify my whole hometown of worms. I learned early on that worms are the cause of many diseases. A lot of times if you think you have an ulcer, problems with asthma, problems with the skin, problems with grinding your teeth at night, problems with not losing weight, not gaining weight, it's always a case of worms. And I learned this 40 years ago. I learned this from my teacher, Dr. Hazel Parcells, whom I always honor and will always honor, because when I walked into her class in 1974, she looked out at each of us the way I'm looking at you, and she said, 8 out of 10 of you have 1 or more worms in your system. You have to deworm before you do anything else. They're the most immunosuppressive agent known to man. I've learned that in my 40 years since. And I'm holding up to you today, and I hope you can get this online. Maybe my gal, Tracy, who's an absolute angel, will be able to find it. It's written by a dear friend, Dr. Leo Litter. It's called Pinworms, a 10-year study. I'm getting all of these questions from all of my clients about the kids that have pandas, a kind of new autoimmune condition that affects the children neurologically. Well, you've got to deworm your child. Kids that have ADD, ADHD, problems with rocking, problems with picking their nose, problems with itching, problems with scratching, problems with hitting themselves, problems with hyperactivity. Half the time, I'd say more than half the time, the kids are just loaded with pinworms. So on a monthly basis, if your child has ADD or ADHD, you've got to get them on a pinworm regimen, an anti-pinworm regimen. The best one that I know of is a supplement called Zymex 2 from Standard Process. I think UnityHealth.com sells it. If not, you can get it online. Zymex 2 for children, or if the child is 10 or over, we could give them our My Colon Cleansing Kit. I want to have a link online for you. But it's so imperative. All of these autoimmune situations that are coming down the pike, many of them are created by 1 or more uninvited guests. You've got the parasites, which are kind of microscopic. You got the tapeworms, you got the threadworms, and you got the pinworms. And adults are not immune to pinworms. They simply call it by a different name. They call the pinworms threadworms. So every time I see somebody that can't lose weight, can't gain weight, neurologically has issues, I always have to detoxify them of parasites. So my colon cleansing kit will get rid of the worms, the flukes, the microscopic little invaders, And the other thing you have to be looking at is also the toxoplasmosis. If you have cats, you have to make sure that you do not touch the litter box, that your child does not always play with the cat unless the cat is kind of dewormed appropriately. We can pick up a lot of these things from our beloved animals. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. So I'd like you all to remember that this is now springtime. Springtime traditionally was deworming time on the farm, so you all have to deworm on a twice a year basis or on a seasonal basis. Now is the very best time. We just passed the worm moon, so this is the very best time to get rid of the little critters. They don't just affect your GI tract, they affect your neurological situation, your neurological symptoms. And from this wonderful little pinworms, a 10-year study that Dr. Leo Litter wrote from West Hartford, Connecticut, he's from my hometown. He says that their neurological symptoms, there's psychiatric symptoms, there's surgical symptoms, urological symptoms, all kinds of symptoms go away when you get rid of the darn worms. So my message and my method to you today is to at all costs deworm. Anti-worm medicines are out there. I think you can get them at the drugstore as long as you follow through in about 2 weeks. Take the Zymex 2 from Standard Process or My Colon Cleansing Kit if your child is old enough. They'll give you all the details on the thread. You want to make sure that you get enough garlic in your system. Worms hate garlic. Garlic and thyme and sage, those are anti-worm kind of medications, even though they're herbs and spices. And worms do not like mugwort tea. So if you can get yourself some mugwort tea, drink it on a daily basis. I myself drink mugwort tea and podarco tea because I'm fighting some fungus, some mold, and I'm always on the lookout for worms. So my message to you is deworm. Adios, amoebas. Adios, amigos. Lots of love. We'll see you next time. We'll answer all your questions as best we can. Share widely, please, because we've got to deworm this country.